Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Give everybody a minute here. And hello, Melanie. How are you doing? Hello, Kelly. All right, I think we're all set up here. We're doing some scrapbooking today. And just make sure it looks okay. What's everybody up to today? I am great. Hello, Jenny. So we are going to scrapbook using the Sketchy Challenge from the Creative Scrapbooker magazine's Sketchy Challenge group. This is the March sketch, and each month there's a new sketch there. There's albums of tons of sketches if you want some inspiration. You're working, Jenny. So this is the one we're kind of basing things on. I like starting with a sketch. I feel like it takes some of the pressure off of figuring out where things go for me. And it gives me kind of a starting point and an idea of, oh yeah, I could use that. And I never really completely stick to the sketch, but I do like using it as a starting point. What else I have a couple new things to show you guys. Let's see. We've got a couple things that Sandy had dropped off here. There's lots of new stuff in the store. I saw that there's some Paige Evans, her new line has showed up. Lots of 49 and Market, which kind of I decided, hey, I have this line. I know it's still in the shop. It's the countryside. It's so gorgeous. I've already started cutting some out of that, the cut aparts that they put on the back of the first paper. Yes, and then add all the things for sure. So we're using the countryside one, but there's lots of that beautiful 49 and Market. There's so many different lines, and I think you can mix and match them and just, whatever kind of speaks to you. Yeah, so much gorgeousness. Then there's a couple new Spellbinders embossing folders here, and I think there's more in the shop. This one is Raindrops, and these are their 3D folders, so they have quite a lot of dimension on them. And you can kind of see in the back, of course, that's great for spring. If you have that little lawn fawn bear, the Here For You bear, I think he's called, he would look super cute. Let me see if I have him on my desk. Yes. Anything with rainbows would look really cute. Look how cute that would look. Anything spring. Then this one here, they've got a whole bunch in this collection, the 4-petal collection. So this is the embossing folder. Of course, it's completely gorgeous. Look at that. Look at the dimension. And then there's the thank you floral as well. So that comes with the florals. I think those would go so beautiful. Hello, Lori. This one has a thank you die and then all the flowers and the leaves in that great Spellbinders feel. I always have such great dies. Then we have another Spellbinders. This one is a Glimmer Hot Foil plate and die set. And this one's called Making Me Smile Sentiments. So you've got Touched Beyond Words, Congrats, You're Pretty Amazing, Birthday Wishes, Hello Lovely. And then you can have Sending, so sending many thanks, sending congrats. Thanks for making me smile. That's cute. Health and happiness. And then, hello, Georgette. You have, so it comes on one plate, which is nice. Like you just put it in, you foil, you've got all the sentiments, and then you can use the die to cut them apart. So if you have the hot foil machine, that's a fun one. Hello, Sandy. How are you doing? I was just saying there's lots of new 49 and Market in the shop. It's beautiful. See, here we've got this Dina Wakely stencils. These are 5 inches, I believe, across, and they're circular. And of course, they're so fun and perfect for any kind of mixed media. I thought we'd use this one here today. So if you look in the shop, they're numbered from 1 to 4. They're called coasters. And you can do all kinds of fun things, of course, but they're just great. Great designs. I love these kind of designs for any kind of background stuff that you're going to do with mixed media. It's just so great. You can just do it with ink, or you can step it up and do all kinds of fun things. So I thought we'd use this today with some lunar paste. There's all kinds of lunar paste colors in the shop. I see that they've been restocked. Hello, Tamara. This one here is Slippery When Wet. And I think it'll go with this Countryside collection. So we've got the 12 by 12 paper pack. And like I said, I've already cut into it because they have a really great cut apart element on the back of the cover page, which I think is very smart. So we've got this collection pack. I've also got the chipboard word set and the ephemera bits. So I took these out. There's another video, I believe, that I did scrapbooking with this. I kind of sorted it into this little tray. This used to be my daughter's Lego tray, and I stole it because she was done with it. And I just separated all the little pieces. So you've got the larger pieces here. There's tons in that ephemera set. And then the chipboard words, and they're really nice and sturdy. And then you've got lots of tags. You've got bees. There's hearts in here. There's tickets and frames. So definitely lots of things to work with. And it all coordinates. And then I have the postage stamp washi tape, which I thought we would use today. Hello, Valerie. How are you? And there's a few more things as well. If you search Countryside in the shop, then everything that we have is going to come up. You can also, if you have another collection, the vintage artistry collection, you can kind of mix and match and do the same kind of layout with your products, or if there's one that you have your eye on and you want to pick that up, you can definitely do a similar layout. Okay, so let's see here. We've also got some of these dewdrops. We are getting some of these in the shop soon. I know they had a bit of a snowstorm, and so we were waiting for some shipping. And this glue is the Stamperia. It's the extra strong glue, the Cola glue, and it is really nice and strong, and so it'll work really well for gluing these dewdrops down or any embellishments. So I thought we would use that. I'm going to give you an idea of how this works. This is kind of a collage glue. It's a fairly liquid glue. It also works over the top of any of your projects or tags or anything you want to give like a little bit of a coating, kind of like a Mod Podge, but a little bit thinner, and it also works as a glue. I was really impressed when I used it. You can use it for gluing, thin papers, rice papers, napkins, but you can also use it for gluing regular papers and then put it on as a top coat to protect everything. So I thought I'd pull that out. And we've got the wonderful die, and that is cut from this wonderful script Sentiments, and this is a Spellbinders die. It's designed by Jana Smakula, and of course she designs such amazing things. I really love that you get this really fine detailed die cut, and then you get the back shadow layer too if you want to put it on a shadow layer. So we're going to add that. And then we have the Ink Drops Sunset paper, and I just thought that matched really nicely with this Countryside collection. So this is in the store in the 6x6 as well as the 12x12 paper. And it looks like alcohol ink. So if you love this kind of look, look for, love these with the pinks in it too. Look for the Ink Drops paper, and there's lots of different papers in lots of colors. This is so pretty, and I think this will be really nice. I still see lots of bee images, so I think this will go really nicely with that. There's lots of bee images in this as well. So if you're doing cards or tags, and you can totally use this collection for cards or any kind of mixed media project. So these are two of the things that I cut out from the back of the front page, and we'll see if we are going to incorporate them. So basically, I know that I'm going to do the sketch. So let's have a look at that one more time. This is the March sketch. And basically I'm going to have some of my paper across here. I'm going to do two photos, and I'm going to put a different paper on the top, and then I'm going to use some of those frames. So that's kind of what we're going for. I have two pictures of Erica. She's playing soccer in the backyard, and she is dressed in orange, and it's fall, and it just seems like the colors really go nicely. This collection as well, it has, so here's some kind of a mini look at the papers in this collection, but there's one here that's, let me see if I have that in the full page. I have it somewhere. Oh yeah. So when I was going through this collection, this is kind of getting off track, but looking at any of the words in here and the titles that they have in the ephemera and the chipboard set, it gave me so many different ideas about layouts that I could do. So this one, I know that I have a photo from Nova Scotia, and it's kind of looking down on the valley, and you see all the farmers' fields, and I am totally going to look for that picture and use this as my background. And then there was some reference to farmers market, so I thought farmers market would be great pictures. I know I have photos of farmers markets and any kind of other fall photos. The Creative Scrapbooker magazine, they have their submissions right now, and so they're actually looking for fall. So I think my mind was kind of on fall, feeling fall, because I don't think, I always just scrapbook whatever I feel like scrapbooking. So today was fall, and we'll just grab some photos. I printed out a whole bunch of photos a little while ago from blacks, so I have them all. I separated them. I went through and I labeled them according to the month. I'm not really measuring anything here. I'm just going to cut it kind of just above this butterfly. So that's going to be the top layer. And so when I need a photo, or if I have an idea about what month it was, I can just go through and I put some sticky labels, sticky notes on, and just wrote the date. Some of them I wrote if there was a specific event like Thanksgiving. This one I'm going to put here. And I think I'm just going to put it right down to the end. And I'm layering this on a piece of just white cardstock. So I'm just going to make a little mark. And we'll just cut it across. And I thought I'm also going to cut off the branding strip because on that sketch, they had a bit of a border. So that's a great place to use those branding strips. And on all the 49 and Market papers, you get a coordinating branding strip that has something printed on it or something pretty that you could use for sure. I'm just going to trim this. Now, what we might also do, I have some text stamps, and we might grab those too. So that is kind of how things are going to look, and we can just go ahead and we'll attach that right now. So that's our first layer. So organized some days. Isn't that pretty? I also love this, but we can only use one side today. So we are going with that. I find I don't spend too much time on the basics of what I start with when I use a sketch, because I can kind of sit down and figure out, okay, I want this paper and this. This is how the base is going to be. These are the photos. And then I can really start to build it up. And I think I'm going to end up using that strip. So otherwise I might have inked around the edge, but I think that the little branding strip is kind of going to be our border. Isn't that pretty? It is beautiful colors. You really can't go wrong with any of those colors in the collection going together. And I felt like I wanted this to be less of a pattern, so that's why I chose this paper. I like that they kind of have a little bit of inked areas. If you were just using a regular paper, you could definitely add some inking on there, but it's nice that these colors are actually coordinated. Okay, I have the ink drops paper that I'm going to mat. I've got the picture and then a black mat, and then I'm going to put it right onto this mat. I left the photo at 4 inches wide, but I cut it down to 5.5 long because I wanted the paper that I have is 6 inches long because it's the 6-inch paper pad. So now what I do is before I glue anything down, I start kind of figuring out where I want things. I know that I want to use this stencil, so we'll take that out. Let's see. And I think that I want to use this one, although I might go and look. I might change that out for something else, but we'll see. But if I lay it there, I can decide. So here's where I can kind of decide where I'm going to put my stenciling. I think I'll do maybe 3 different areas. And I was also thinking about some text. So I know this one is not in the store. It is something I believe that Sandy can order if you're looking for it. It's the Stampers Anonymous Botanic Collage, but there is a Christmas one that would totally work the same. So it has floral images and it has the text on it. So if you have that or another one with text, that could work as well. And I just want it basically for some of the text. So I think we'll probably use that one. And across the top, they had the squares on the sketch. They had 4, but I'm going to use these little frames, which I thought were cute. And I also didn't want to completely cover up that flower. Hello, Heather. So I thought I'm going to leave that one open, and I might put something in there, but I'm not sure. Okay, so for our wonderful here with that Spellbinders die cut, I'm actually going to use a little bit of this because this is so fine. So I thought, let's try the rice paper glue, and we'll just put a little bit out, and we're just going to brush it on because it's so thin. You could just put this on with your finger as well, but I thought a paintbrush, and we'll just see how this works. And it dries clear. So all I'm doing is dabbing it in and just getting some glue on the back of this. And now I can just start to hold it down. You also don't need, you don't need a ton of glue. If you have it held down in a few places, then it's going to stick down. So I'm basically lining up the front and the middle and the end, and then I'll press it down. And it's just grabbing, but I do have a minute to move it around if I wanted to kind of move it a little bit, which is nice with the wet glue. Yeah, and that turned out really nicely. That went on really nicely. You can't see any of the glue. Hello, Julie. So I think that worked really well. I would definitely use this for other things that I needed to glue down. I'm just going to wipe that up. And it's really great for doing any kind of mixed media tags as well. And then you can just rinse out your paintbrush or stick it in a little bit of water. You just don't want to let the glue completely dry, of course. Okay, so that's glued on, and then I'm not sure about that yet. I'm just going to look at a couple of the other branding strips. Oh, that's nice, actually. The stripe, the green or the black stripe might be nice. And then there's also one that can go in the bottom. I kind of like the stripe. Let me see, I also have, I'm going to cut the stripe and then I can see. Sometimes you almost need to cut it before you can tell if you think it's going to work. How's everybody's week been? I can't believe I say this every week, but I can't believe it's Thursday already. It's like the week goes by so fast. Okay, and you guys can let me know if you think one of them looks a little bit better than the other. So we've got the green, we've got the black, and we've got the memories, which we can put a little bit of ink around. And then there's the bottom. Glad it's sunny today, yes. And Valerie, where are you from? You know, we're expecting some more snow, which I am not. I think I'm done with snow. Ready for warm weather. Even though this is fall, Erica is wearing shorts. Okay, maybe that. And we really had some nice weather. Okay, well, let's think about those. And then let's go ahead and put a little bit of our lunar paste on here. So we have the slippery when wet. You're in Calgary, okay. And are you popping into the carnival in April? So when I do lunar paste on a sponge through a stencil, which I think is my favorite way to do it, I just want a little bit on my mat. And then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of water just to make the sponge a little bit wet. I was thinking that Easter is actually coming very quickly. I will have to get myself together with some Easter things for my kiddos. So I'm going to have to put a little bit more on. So I'm just using this. Isn't that pretty? And then you've got that little bit of shine. I was going to just do ink, but I felt like, oh, you're going to be away. Oh, well, that's okay. I'm sure you will have a good time wherever you're going. Okay, let's put a little bit more so we can do the other areas. And we don't really need too much water. I don't want a lot, like clumps. I want it to be pretty smooth. So let's see. There we go. But I find that it just glides on so nicely when your sponge is a little bit wet. And there's lots of colors you could use. There's lots of greens. There's an orange and a couple reds. The stencil is so nice, and you can kind of see like just how it is perfect for any backgrounds. And the gold is just very subtle. And we can even here just add a little bit of gold around the edge. Okay. And then this just wipes off easily. I think I did grab a little tag here. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the rest of this up on my tag, because if I have extra ink or anything left over, I love just creating a background and then I have it for later. And then this you can just rinse out or throw it in your little bucket of water. I love the shimmer on that. And we'll just give this a little wipe. If you have a bucket of water, you can just throw it in there. I even painted my nails to go with the layout today. I don't often paint my nails, or if I paint them, it's just clear. But I was trying to find nail polish in my daughter's bathroom, and that's what I found. Okay, now we can lay this out. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to use that stamp. So we've got the text, any kind of text stamp, and I'm just going to find a block. I should have done that before, but this is like the longest block ever. I think I've had this forever. I'm just going to use some frayed burlap ink. It's a nice brown. And then just in a few areas, I'll go over. That's nice, hey? Hello, Ellie. Let's see. I'm going to pull out, give this a wipe off, just because there's a couple different stamps there. I'll use this one because the text is kind of going that way. And on here, we can put the butterfly. So if this is something you are looking for, it's the Botanic Collage, and if it's available still from the distributor, then you can email Sandy to order that in, or you can pick up the other collage one that's in the shop that's more of a Christmassy, but it still has the text, and you could still totally use that. I also love that the bubbles stamp, and that comes with a nice big stamp block. And you could just press this down too. You can see like I don't even have the full stamp on the block. And these are just going to be in the background, so you don't have to worry if it's not stamped perfectly. Okay. And it's just about building some layers. So you can build your layers with whatever you have. Paper. If you didn't have lunar paste, you could use ink, or you could use some of the Nuvo pastes. I think I'm going to put the black on the bottom and then put the green strip here. You know, I'm going to wait and decide before I glue the bottom one down. But I will glue this one. And I'm just going to glue it right under that cut edge. We have our little squares. If you do end up using the sketch, you can post it in the Creative Scrapbooker Sketchy Challenge group too. And there's lots of inspiration there. And the Scrap Shotz paper crafting group. And our challenge this month is to use black as the star of the show. So we want to see any kind of layouts with like a black background or cards. There's lots of inspiration in the album in the group. We've got these fun little tickets. I think that's how I'm going to place those. So I think, oh, and the only other thing I was thinking was whether I wanted to put a flower behind here. But I don't really want to cover up all my stamping. So I think I might hold off on that one. This one might work though. So there's lots of cards that have black backgrounds. We did a few a couple weeks ago when we did the black foundations paper, and we also did a live with the black alcohol ink paper, the Dura Bright, I think it's called. I think that is kind of what I'm thinking. Okay, that's what we'll do. So we will glue down our photos. To get this started, sometimes I find it gets stuck there. I love this ink drops paper. And we'll place that just a little bit below our strip. Hello, Diana. So if you guys are working on scrapbooking, are there certain pictures that you're working on right now, or a certain season that you're working on? I tend to jump all over the place. I do have one more photo of Erica, and I don't know why that's not grabbing. I think I will use that separately, but on the same collection. There. And I think I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape. So I've got the Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. Let's see where we're going to use this. We'll pop up some of them. And I just want that flower to kind of be in the background. I think that'll look okay. So I find that I really jump all over the place depending on the paper or whatever I feel like scrapping. That's why I find if my photos are organized, then I can easily grab them. And so the farmer's market idea from one of the printed ephemera pieces. I'll probably go and look for some farmer's market photos, maybe even some summer. This would work well, I think, for summer as well, because of the sunflowers and the bees. So I think I'll find those photos. And we'll put this one on here. There's lots of words in those chipboard words that you can combine, and you can combine them with the sentiments as well. Heather, it is a very pretty stencil. Oh yeah, sorry, I missed your comment. It works really nicely, and you can combine different colors like that as well. So you can certainly put it on the lunar paste. You can put it on like a texture paste with a palette knife, but I love doing it like this. It dries almost immediately. You still get that really nice shine, and it's flat, so you can go ahead and stamp over it. Okay. Now that I have little pieces of backing all over the place. Okay, and I like too that it's the letters are that hand lettered look, so really you don't have to have them perfectly straight. We'll glue that down, and then I think we'll just glue that flat. So there's a couple different layers of dimension there. And we could use, I'm just going to use my art glitter glue for this. It's not quite as thin. You could definitely brush on the cola or the rice paper, yeah, Cola Vela glue, because mine's on the photo. I just didn't want too much wetness, and my paintbrush is sitting in water, so I thought I'm just going to use the art glitter glue for this. What also would be nice is if you cut out a few layers of the background of Wonderful and stacked them so that they were a little higher. That would look really nice as well. Hello, Coralie. Let's put our last word of our title. I like combining different fonts and sentiments to make a title. Alrighty, we'll work on these little top pieces. So these were squares in the sketch. And I pulled out these tickets, so I thought we could tuck some of these in, but I do want to cut them a little bit, so maybe we'll just cut these in half. And we'll also use our frayed burlap. I'm not sure if we'll use that flower or not, but and we'll just use that edge. I need a new sponge on this. I think the Velcro has had it. These tickets are great, and they're really nice. They're really nice weight. So they're very sturdy. We'll cut this one. And because it's oxide, it is going to show up on the black, which is nice. Let's move that out of the way. So we could kind of maybe tuck that in like that and put that over top. Now let's just see if we can get this back together again. Get that up after. Okay, I think what we're going to do, maybe like this. And we will glue this. We'll glue it straight down. And then we'll add some foam tape like to this ticket. We'll add a little foam square. And maybe just kind of set it like that. We have these pieces left over that we could do something with. There's some other colors there as well. Let's see. For this one here, oh, I also have these circles. I think I'm going to do something like this. This one I feel like needs a little bit of color, so maybe if we grab our lunar paste and we'll just get a little bit of color. You could use a sponge as well. I just want to add some to the outside of this. You can make it a little bit raised just by adding a little bit extra around the edge, or you could not put much and then it will be flatter. I kind of like that. I think that'll dry really nicely. So we'll set that aside for a minute and wipe our hands off. That cleans up really nicely, the lunar paste. So if you just have a wipe or a cloth, that'll wipe up really nice. That we'll put right there. This one, I think, add a little bit of ink. This was just another piece that was in the ephemera pack. There's a ton in that ephemera pack. So I'll glue these frames down where I want them, and then I can pop up the little pieces. If you struggle with getting things flat, you can use a grid ruler is always helpful. You could also place different things in the background. So if you have a picture, if you have some of that pattern paper or some of the paper that has some script on it, this one I think will pop up. And there's a little butterfly there too that I might use. So we'll put this one on there. I don't want a ton of dimension, but I do want a little bit. I've also got some of these really cute little hearts. They've got like sunflower print. Hello, Jennifer. How are you? And I think I'm going to have this here. I might actually do the same with the lunar paste on this one because lunar paste looks fabulous on dark colors as well, so blacks. And I just want a little bit of dimension on there, a little bit of texture, so that's why I've got a little bit extra. Doesn't that look pretty? Lunar paste is great to use if you're going to do that challenge in the group with the black backgrounds and you have some black paper and you want to stencil some lunar paste on it. It would look beautiful. So we'll just let that dry for a minute. I'm going to get another baby wipe because I feel like I've got a lot on my hands right now. Okay, now I'm going to, I like this, live in the sunshine. Erica's very funny. She would live outside if she could. I can't decide what I want at the bottom here or if I want anything. Maybe I just need like a small strip of something. Like I feel like it's just, maybe I need a color. Anyway, so she could live outside and she has a hockey net here that she's playing soccer with in the backyard because she's always got to be doing something. And because it's been really cold out here lately, I don't really like that. Because it's been so cold, she's been stuck inside, but she's discovered sewing. So she's stitching these felt things, felt projects, and they are amazing. Like her stitching skills are incredible. So she's been cutting out the patterns, and honestly, I don't know what to do about the bottom here. You know, when you're just not feeling it, I'm going to leave it off for now and just think about it. Maybe this one's just black, but I don't know. Okay, we'll leave that for now. Washi maybe? Oh yeah, maybe. I also have, thanks for reminding me about this washi because I could put this washi on, but it goes in different directions. So, but just a strip of washi. Yeah, so she's been cutting out all these little patterns and sewing and stuffing little projects that look so cute. So she made my sister it's called a wine bottle topper, but it's just a felt giraffe that's kind of like almost like a finger puppet thing, but it fits on top of a wine bottle. But she made this for my sister. So washi, great idea, Jenny. I don't even know if my sister actually drinks wine, but she made her this, and then she's been photographing it. And she has an Instagram account, but it's just a private account. But she said, I need a bottle of wine, and I wasn't really paying attention, so I'm like, to see if it fits, and she's like, yeah. So I actually grabbed, I don't know, there was a bottle of whiskey or something, and I grabbed that. And so the next day, Amy, who's 16, she's like, do you know Erica has like a bottle of alcohol on her Instagram? I'm like, what? Because she had to photograph it on top of the bottle. So that's perfect, Jenny. Thanks for that idea. Okay, now I want to use this maybe in here. And I don't necessarily, I love the bee, but I feel like the outside here is something that is going to work a little bit better. And so we'll take this one, we'll save those. These are so pretty. And then the flowers, I'm going to use those. Look at all, you get so many here. Like there's all of these before you're back to the beginning, and then it's a huge roll. So I think all the collections have their own type of washi. I think I'll go with this one. So I figured I would do, it's pretty sticky too, a little bit of, or make these into an embellishment. Oh, nice. Yeah, and a lot of times like I forget about it, right? But what I try to do is if I have a collection like this, like I pulled in, the stamps and some inks in a color and color that would match. And so grabbing a couple washi tapes totally makes sense because most of us have lots of washi. I got one of my girls to organize mine according to color, so it's easy to grab. So I just cut a little piece of cardstock to be a little bit smaller because I wanted to give these a little bit of dimension, but I also wanted them to have a little bit of stability. I think if you stuck these on your page though, they would stick really nicely. I'm just trying to line this up. So I cut it a little bit smaller because I want that stamped edge to still be there. And there, then we have some cute little stamps. And stamps are so big right now. They're everywhere. So I thought those would go there, and I still have my little circles. I will maybe give them a shot with the heat. And then I have these little hearts. Okay, so let's stamp this with a date. I think I brought over, here it is, this Paige Evans date stamp, and I'm not sure if we have any date stamps right now, but I never get them on right, but I try not to worry about it, and I just appreciate that it's probably going to not stamp perfectly. It's like I can stamp it on to a scrap piece. Oh, it actually turned out pretty good. I can stamp it onto a scrap piece and it's perfect, and then I stamp it onto my paper and it's like, what is going on with that? Okay, I'm just going to decide where I'm going to put those. I think I will write some journaling, so maybe I should write it over here because I've got some lunar paste and stamping already there. So we'll glue that down. This glue as well is really, really great. I was going to use it for the dewdrops, but it works well. It's a really heavy duty glue, so just to kind of show you how this goes on, and it sticks. They use, I haven't used this in a while, hang on. Stamperia, I did a class with them, and they used it to stick on really heavy embellishments, and they stuck really great. Okay, I just put a pin in there just because I haven't used it for a while. So if you had a big piece of chipboard, just to give you an idea, that's just a piece of paper. But if you had a nice big piece of chipboard, it would stick it on really well, and it'll work really nicely for the dewdrops when we're ready to put those on. Okay, we'll glue these on. And like any chipboard, that's going to work nicely as well. Metal embellishments too, it'll stick on really nicely. Okay, stick our, let's see here. What else do I want to do? I've got this butterfly. I feel like I need to put these on because I'm just not sure what else is going on here. And they're not completely dry, but they're pretty dry. So I'm just going to carefully put them on. And not sure what we're doing with that. I want some of that flower to peek out there, so I'm just deciding how I want to put this on. That could go like that. Oop. Sticking. Yes, if you stamp it a couple times, like Jenny said, if it doesn't work out perfectly, it looks like you intended it to be like that. I think I will glue this down. And that's what I like too about any kind of mixed media feel, is that if you have a smudge, it looks like it's supposed to be there. Okay. Hello, Holly. Let's see, what else do we need? So I'll write my journaling there. I have a grid ruler that I always use. Sometimes I line things up to make sure I'm straight. Other times I just stick them on. But what I will do is I'll go ahead and make some lines for my journaling and then write it in. I'll do that after. And I also want to add a few of these dewdrops. And we could decide if we want I might come back to this because I don't want to drive you guys crazy with me deciding where to put something. So I don't know. Sometimes I'll just put them on, and then if I feel like it's working, I'll glue it down. And if I look at it and think, I don't really like that there, then I'll move it. But okay, maybe that'll be a think about. Hello from Alberta. Lovely. Oh, thanks, Holly. Hello, Betty. So we've got the dewdrops, and these are coming. Not in these exact bottles, but in different mixes, and they're very fun. So these, just like if you have sequins, they're going to go on the same kind of way. I usually do some clusters of 3. We'll just think about where we want them. I'm going to put this cover in my glue. So they come in these adorable little glass bottles, and these are an acrylic drop, and there's different sizes and shapes. So there's teardrop ones that are really cute. We used some last week as well. And there's various colors. Okay, maybe we'll grab the green ones as well, just to give you an idea. But I'm sure Sandy will put them in the shop as soon as they arrive. Let's see. think I want a lighter green down here. I usually place my embellishments on, and then if I feel like I'm happy with that placement, and if you put them in 2 or 3 different areas, and I usually do a little bit of a triangular shape, I find that I'm usually pretty happy with it. So this extra fort glue, Karla, I'm sure some of this is in a language that I'm not pronouncing exactly right, but it is the extra strong glue. If you look for Stamperia, there's only a couple things that pop up. So let me grab this. These are a little bit heavy for this, but if you just kind of grab it by the side, then it will pick it up. It's a wax tip, and this is the Studio Cadia embellishment wand, and there are some different tips available too if you want to kind of change them out. Thank you. So I just try and grab it. The big one is a little bit heavy, but it lets me move it a little bit. The smaller ones are a little bit easier to move, and the bigger ones are easier to grab with your finger too. So if you just put a little bit of that glue on, and it's going to dry clear as well. And just, you don't need very much, and it's going to hold it very well. Betty, I was telling everybody that Erica has now taken up stitching. So she's stitching felt. She told me she needs to go to Michael's to get some different colors. So she has a list of the colors she needs. She's made a fox. But I know as soon as the weather gets nice, she will definitely be outside. So this is a good activity for her when she's inside. I think I'm going to go ahead. I like this, so I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down. And we'll finish these up, and then I can give you a little close-up. I think that's it, other than I'll write my journaling. I'll take a picture and I'll post it I'll post it online, but I'll also post it in the paper crafting group. So don't forget, you have all month to get in your projects that have black as the star of the show. So layouts or cards or tags that that you use black to really make things pop. Okay, I think everything, oh, my butterfly didn't glue down. I haven't completely decided where that's going to go. Hello, Kathy. So here is a look. Love that lunar paste. You can kind of see it peeking through that Dina Wakely stencil. I can totally see using that for lots of different things. And there's those fun areas at the top. Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, I've got my little title there. My date, thank you, Valerie. And then I'll put some journaling here. So that, I'm happy with that. I like the structure, and I like that there's some mixed media in there. It doesn't, stand out. It's just subtle, but I am happy with that. So thanks, guys, for hanging out with me, and I will see you next week. Hopefully you guys have an awesome weekend. Yeah, it's nice, bright, fun colors. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.